Buff Nation.
Let's go.
Did it work this time?
It did work this time, barely.
Let's go. Let's go. Welcome into DNVR Buffs Prime Time. We're presented by Legal Pete's, everyone's go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beers. A lot to get into today. Bit of a slow news day, but always plenty of topics to talk about with Coach Prime.
What did you just say?
So we're talking about a lot today. We're talking about Bryce Underwood off the top, though.
Yes, and man, to me, we'll get into it in a second, but this is a all or nothing type quarterback recruit, and I'll explain what I mean after you kind of set the stage for us here.
So Bryce Underwood, we've talked about him quite a bit. We're going to talk about him a lot here moving forward. Set to commit on January 6th. That is a week from Saturday. This is the number one overall player, number one quarterback in the 2025 class out of Bellevue, Michigan, 6'3.5", 205. He says he's still only 16 years old. He's taken quite a few visits to his top 7 schools already. CU's in that top 7. I guess, how are you feeling right now about him?
You said he's committing on January 6th?
Yes.
Usually the only thing that's committed on January 6th is federal crimes.
I knew there was going to be something with that. I just knew.
Jake, maybe we need to be worried about the red team with the elephant mascot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a good omen that he picked that day and has a bright red team from the south, I guess.
Other than that, I'm feeling like the Buffs have an outside chance here. I'm feeling like they have an outside chance to. I don't think the word is sneak in because they've always been lingering in this situation, but you certainly haven't heard any, buzz, I guess, about Bryce Underwood to the Buffs really since his visit and really since Antoine Hill committed. It was kind of. And it was all Bryce Underwood season, and then Antoine Hill comes in, he commits, and everything on Bryce Underwood cooled down for a while. Then obviously, as Bryce Underwood as Antoine Hill decommits, then we go back a little bit to. I'm just laughing at the comments.
I know.
Then we go back a little bit to Bryce Underwood, and now it's one of those things where. You have to wonder how much have the Buffs been in on Bryce Hill ever since AJ Hill decommitted, and I think there's a chance that this, we didn't get the Coach Prime surprise on signing day. Maybe this is the one that they have up their sleeves.
So if you'll allow me to read the tea leaves and maybe speculate a bit, I maybe have a bit of a theory here. So he came and visited for that CSU game. That's the same game Jordan Seaton came and visited. And Alyssa, if you want to pull up the picture, I mean, he took a pretty, I don't know, a leading picture, I guess, with Coach Prime because he's at the wall.
Yep.
And we all know what the wall means at this point. Maybe it didn't have as much significance back then in September that it does now. But I mean, the fans were chanting his name. They had his name on signs. He was in the press conference room with Shedeur after the game. It seems like he really built a relationship with not only Coach Prime and Shedeur, but he was there with Jordan Seaton. And we just went through this whole entire saga with him. And it did kind of come down to, Friday, basically, when he signed his NLI. But it seemed like Jordan Seaton was really in on the Buffs pretty early on in the process and kind of just kept everyone in the dark. Maybe Bryce Underwood's doing the same thing. He's on the wall with Coach Prime.
He is on the wall. I think the wall is like probably hitting at 95% right now. Not quite 100%. Obviously, Jaquan McCroy was on the wall, and maybe there was one other one. Maybe Chris McClellan was on the wall. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But the wall hits at a very high rate. So you always have to keep an eye on anyone who was on the wall. But here's why I say he is an all or nothing recruit. I don't mean that in the literal sense. I mean it in the sense that if you get Bryce Underwood, then you have your heir apparent to Shedeur Sanders. If you don't, obviously you still recruit a quarterback, and you usually try to take in. I guess they didn't even do it this year, but usually the conventional wisdom is you bring in a quarterback recruit each class. So I think you still continue to recruit the quarterback position, but when it comes to the heir apparent to Shedeur, I think if you're not getting Bryce Underwood, you are and you are still in the mix for AJ Hill, so I'll throw him in there too. I think you turn to the transfer portal to find your quarterback to fill in after Shedeur leaves for the NFL this season. It just makes too much sense. Coach Prime has been the king of the transfer portal. Obviously, it's difficult to succeed right away with a true freshman quarterback. And the quality of quarterback that is entering the transfer portal in 2023 is already incredibly high. In 2024, it's only going to get better. I think the transfer portal is only going to become more and more fruitful as time goes on. So I think it's like, if you don't get Bryce, you're looking for your 1 year or more, but grad transfer from a lower level school who wants, one big shot at the big time. Or heck, it doesn't even have to be a lower level school. Maybe you're looking for a Dylan Gabriel like transfer where he's going from one, upper school to another.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to go back to AJ Hill real quick, it felt like, and we talked about this when he committed. I mean, he kind of walled off Bryce Underwood at that point, right? And, he was talking about coming in early. That obviously didn't happen, but was in the same recruiting class, or is in the same recruiting class as Bryce Underwood. And obviously, they're looking for that quarterback after Shedeur, and they're looking for it everywhere. They're going to look for it in the recruiting class. And you're right. I think the transfer portal is definitely an option. And you mentioned it, man, the strength of the transfer portal, it just keeps growing and growing. We've seen it already this year compared to last year, and we're still have a week of this cycle left in the transfer portal before it actually closes. I'm sure it'll be popping again in the spring too. So this time next year, you could have some of the best quarterbacks in the country just in the portal waiting for you there. I do think Bryce Underwood, as you said, he's a guy that you pull out all the stops for. You sell out for him. I mean, he's a complete dual threat. All he does is win. I think he's won 3 state titles now at Bellevue High School. He has taken a few visits. He's seen Michigan, CU, Penn State, and LSU. The weekend before last, he was at Alabama as well. So he is doing a good job, I think, of reaching out and surveying all his options here. I don't think he's rushing this decision at all, even though it is a year out from when he's going to sign on the dotted line. It feels like he's taken or done his due diligence in the schools he's interested in. So I don't know. I mean, could he commit on next weekend and, flip down the line? Sure. I mean, it's a possibility, but it feels like this kid is just doing all the right steps to go and find his next school and next coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Really quick, I just want to talk on a few things. One, AJ Hill. The reason why AJ Hill decommitted is because he thought he was going to reclassify to 2024 and come in and have a year behind Shedeur. If you remember, there was like some quotes about it after he committed, like excited to learn behind Shedeur, and we were like, wait, what? There must be something here that we don't know about. And it turns out he did want to reclassify and come to Colorado this year, but wasn't able to for whatever reasons. So that is what you need to know about AJ Hill. And he said, even when he decommitted, like, I'm still high on Colorado or something along those lines, but I'm going to look at my options as I have a whole nother year of high school. Then there's the 2 quarterbacks that they brought in this year as depth. Yep. Destin Wade and Walter Taylor. I think either one of those guys, could potentially pop. If I had to choose one, it would be Walter Taylor. Walter Taylor is a special athlete, and we have very, very limited sample size of him throwing in college, but it wasn't great, and that doesn't mean that he can't do it though. You come in, you have a year with Pat Shurmur and whoever else may be on the offensive staff that's developing quarterbacks. The dude is 6'7". He's fast. He certainly has a cannon. You just need to kind of hone it all in a little bit, and he could potentially be the next guy, especially if you were to go the young route. But that being said, because and Ryan Staub, that's the other one that I wanted to bring up. Ryan
Hmm.
Staub, I thought showed a lot, and it's not over yet. Technically, he could still transfer, but showed a lot of maturity and commitment to Colorado by not deciding to transfer, even after Coach Prime said he's probably going to want to transfer after he put that on tape, and he decided not to. So all of those guys, I think, are outside shots. It's a dart that you can throw at the board, and hopefully one of them pops. That being said, with the success that Colorado's had in the transfer portal, it feels unlikely that if they were not to get a Bryce Underwood, Colorado wouldn't be hot in the portal for a high level, high caliber quarterback next year.
I mean, sure. Both guys have, potential, absolutely. Even Dustin Wade. I mean, this guy was a 2022 four-star recruit. So he was more highly recruited than Walter Taylor was a few years ago. They were in the same recruiting class. But even, say they don't get Bryce Underwood or they don't get AJ Hill, they don't have another recruit coming in this next recruiting class at quarterback. And you mentioned the portal. You have two young guys, so it would make sense, I think, either way, even if it's a starter or not, to go get a veteran portal quarterback, someone who has some on-field experience. If you want to roll with Wade and Taylor and just have a old-fashioned quarterback competition, then you at least have another veteran quarterback from the portal who can come in and stabilize the ship if things don't go quite that way. I'm on the same boat, though. I think both guys are intriguing. They definitely have some upside. We might even see, Walter Taylor or even Dustin Wade this year in specific packages. But I think that if it all came down to it, they'd go find another quarterback in the portal, or it's Bryce Underwood. Again, they got to go and pull out all the stops. I'm sure they have for Bryce Underwood. It is kind of weird. He's committing, I guess, this far out from his actual date of signing on the dotted line. But you got to do it, man. This is the number one player. And we talked about with Jordan Seaton. Bryce Underwood's a player you build recruiting classes around, not just because he's a quarterback. This is the number one overall recruit.
Yeah.
Like, you got to go get him.
Yeah, and that's the other big thing is it's not just you're getting a fantastic quarterback, but it's you're sending a message to the nation in more ways than one. Message one is Coach Prime is here to stay, I think, or he's not planning on retiring or walking away after Shedeur and Travis and Shiloh all leave, which is obviously not something that we're suspecting, but something that people outside of Colorado have been talking about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It also says, like, we're not playing around in the 2025 recruiting class. And, sends a message to recruits that, hey, Colorado is the place to be.
For sure. And I think that with that commitment date too, being so far out, if you do earn his commitment and you can keep him happy throughout that time he's committed and get him to sign on the dotted line, that's far out enough that you really can build a class around him. You can send him out, not send him out literally, but you can have him recruit for you basically with this much time on your hands, a whole year basically to build a class. And we have zero commitments for the Buffs. So this could just be a transformative commitment for the future, immediate future and distant future for this program.
All right. 1 to 10, your Bryce Underwood to the Buffs confidence scale.
10 being a lock?
10, yeah, 10 is it's just a matter of time until he's announcing it.
I'm going to go with a 7.
Okay. I think I'll go with a
Where are
6.
Not as confident, huh?
Hey, it worked out last time.
That is true. Although I could be the conductor of this hype train as well, if you'll allow me to be.
The old the saying from The Office where he says, I'm not superstitious, I'm just a little stitious.
Yes.
I'm the opposite of that. Whatever's more stitious than superstitious is what I am.
You're extra stitious?
Yeah. Extra superstitious.
I love it. Again, he commits on the 6th of January. That is a week from Saturday, so about 10 to 11 days out. We'll see, man. Keep your fingers crossed. Anything else on Bryce before we move on here?
Nope.
All right, Ryan. Then fire up that DraftKings Sportsbook app for me. And shout out to our great friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 on the NFL and score $150 instantly in bonus bets. Tons of great opportunities on there. They give you a bunch of deals on the top of the screen. Just scroll across the top and claim all those offers. Free SGPs, free super SGPs, all that good stuff. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now with DNVR. New customers can bet $5 on NFL action and score $150 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code DNVR. The crown is yours. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gambling resources. We need a pick of the week. What do you got?
All right, Jake, we have entered the part of bowl season where we actually know some of the teams. Although I will say, and this is what is inspiring my pick for tonight, yesterday we had UNLV and why am I blanking on the other team? Kansas. And I tuned into that as it's the first bowl that I've watched start to finish, and it was so entertaining, so good. And one of the reasons why it was so fun is because I bet the over. And there might be nothing better in betting than when you're impartial to a game, you bet the over and it hits. Because you're like every big play, you're just excited, you're having fun. Yep. Kansas is just throwing like 500 balls all game, and their wide receivers are just going and plucking them out of the sky. It was electric. So I'm doing it again tonight. I'm going back to the well. I'm taking the over in Oklahoma State, Texas A&M, 7 p.m. game. Over 55 is the move tonight. Oklahoma State and Texas A&M.
Let's go.
By the way, speaking of transfer quarterbacks, is his name Jason Bean from Kansas?
I think so, yeah.
Did you watch the game?
I did not, no.
Dude, this guy's got to get in the portal because they have Jalen Daniels, who's coming back from injury next year. He's expected to, be their starting quarterback. Dude, this guy was electric. He's like the fastest guy on the field and just has a cannon.
I'm looking at his stats right now. I mean, the guy can sling it, obviously. He played pretty well and didn't even, like you said, wasn't even the full-time starter this year.
Yeah, I know. I'm expecting him to go in the portal. That guy's got to play somewhere. We as college football fans deserve it.
Yes, we
He's
do.
very Jaden Delora-esque, who also is in the transfer portal.
Yep. Back in, man. We'll see if he follows.
He was in his 6th year, apparently, so.
Jaden Delora was, or
no,
Bean?
Bean.
That's wild. Then he got robbed. We got robbed as a college.
The fact that last night's the first time I've ever seen him play. I feel like I was robbed.
And then Game Time.
Shout out to Game Time, the best place to get tickets. Whether you're looking to go to a bowl game, looking to go to a Buffs game, or looking to go to any game in town or a concert, Game Time's the place to go. And you can do it cheaper when you use Game Time, especially if you wait till the last minute. Best place to get last minute tickets is Game Time. And when you use the code BUFFS, that's code BUFFS, when you sign up and make your account, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase. So make sure you use that code BUFFS BUFFS at Game Time when you sign up.
All right, we talked about this tweet yesterday. We're going to kind of break it down further today. Coach Prime, the day after Christmas, so just yesterday, said, "Dang, I see the portal doing that bankhead bounce. Just when I thought Santa was on his way back to the North Pole, he dipped off. Santa, please drop off another DT, CB, LB, and one more pass rusher to Boulder. I believe, Santa. I believe." Hashtag Coach Prime. So let's rank these positions of need that Coach Prime put up there. I think there's a great argument for every single one of them, but I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Are we working from least important to most important, or most to least?
Let's see. If we only have 4 here, I feel like we can probably do this. Obviously, all of them are important. And every time we have an exercise like this, someone comments like, "You guys think you're smarter than Coach Prime," or something along those lines. Like, no, we're just talking. It's the off season. So we're giving our opinions on what we believe is most important to least important. I'm going to say in the number 4 slot here, I don't even like saying least important, but in the 4th slot, 4th most important of these positions of need, I'm going to put cornerback.
I agree with you. Look, we have 2 5 stars there. We have some guys, some young players who really showed some promise last year. Of course, Carter Stoutmeyer being one of them. Tons of guys they brought in through the portal. And it's Coach Prime. I just believe in that position simply more than I do others because of who the head coach is and who he's been throughout his career. So I'm in lockstep with you there.
Yep, that one's going on the bottom, Alyssa. Yeah, I think I get it. Coach Prime is just such a big corner guy that he wants to be absolutely sure that he has the right corners, right? Like he knows Travis is him. He doesn't have to worry about Travis. He so badly wants another guy that he just doesn't have to, worry about. Obviously, when I say not worry about, it's not that he's not going to coach them or any of that. It's that he can trust them on a play-to-play basis to go out there and be on an island. We talked about this last year when we were talking about Cormani, and him potentially being great right away. And it was like your options as a defensive coordinator, if you can lock down both outside corner positions, are endless. Now, it didn't work out as a freshman for Cormani. Obviously, still got another chance. But I think Coach Prime wants as many arrows in the quiver at this position to create a mix in the secondary that is lethal.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, you still have guys like Omari and Cooper. You brought in Preston Hodge already, who was a 4 star transfer out of Liberty. He's a grad transfer. He's got 1 year to play. But yeah, to set this room up, I guess, for future success, you would need to, I guess, get some younger blood in there as well. Maybe some, I don't know, a sophomore or junior, help out, bring along guys like Cormani McLean and Carter Stoutmeyer and all those young corners. And then just have another piece for the future too with that. I completely agree. Number 3, what are you thinking?
And one thing that I'll say on corner is I'm pretty confident there will be at least one more corner added.
Yep.
Number 3, where are you going? I picked 4.
I'd probably say linebacker. We have a very, very young core of linebackers already in-house. They brought in, I think, 3 or 4 true freshmen last year. You've already got some transfers coming in that we've talked about as well. So, with DJ Lundy coming in there to man the group, and of course Levante Bentley, I mean, it's just a great mix already. I mean, I understand why Coach Prime would want another one, but I really feel great with this group and where it stands right now.
Yeah, these last 3 are really tough for me because I think all of them are a step above corner in importance, and I think you can make a case for all of them. I think you're right about the young linebackers, and it would almost feel like hitting the lottery if one of those young guys just pops next year, whether it's Kofi Taylor Barracks or Morgan Pearson or another one of those young guys just comes in and is a stud as a sophomore would be just amazing. But if not, I would like to add one more there that can come in and play right away and just give you like a lockdown middle of the field. There's the Michigan State kid who's in the portal. Yep. And like mixing him with DJ Lundy would just be awesome. So I think you're right though, because of just the whole idea of positional value, which I've joked is like now matters in college football because you have to pay for all of these guys. It's like you have to choose where you want to invest your resources. So I guess from that perspective, I agree with you. Linebacker not quite as high on the positional value scale as these other ones.
I just like the room as it stands right now. And yeah, you could always use another body there. We saw what Juju was able to do when he was, pointed in the right direction and just able to contribute to the team last year. So it's definitely something that the team could use. I wouldn't say it's actually a real big need at this point, though.
Yep. All right. Number two. I think I'm going to put pass rusher here.
Okay.
It's tough. It's tough, but I think before you can rush the passer, you have to stop the run. Now, obviously, they've added with Chidozie Nwankwo, and you think he's going to be a beast. But we also know that they wanted Chris McClellan, and I think it's no coincidence, at least in my eyes, that Coach Prime listed defensive tackle first on this list. They missed out on McClellan. I think they want to get one more. And I think if you can stop the run and you can be really sound on the inside, then you can get better production out of your pass rushers as you're getting more 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 scenarios.
I agree. Getting
So,
Chris McClellan.
I have defensive
This is
tackle
at one,
at
right?
1.
Yeah, but that I think I'm on the same wavelength here. I could go either way though with pass rusher or defensive line, but just seeing how bad they were against the run last year, it's something that needs to be addressed absolutely. And if you had Chris McClellan, I'd feel really good about where they stand right now. So I think it makes sense why he put that tweet out. He probably knew at that time, of course, that Chris McClellan was headed off to Missouri. He just committed yesterday as well. You did bring in Anquin Barnes alongside Chidozie Nwankwo. With Chris McClellan though, I would have been fine with those three coming in. You have the young guys coming in, Eric Brantley and Brandon Davis Swain as well. So it makes sense. And there's some guys out there. There's the other Houston guy, I think Jamari, I can't remember his last name right now, but we talked about him yesterday.
Yep.
So there's still some options out there along the defensive line. Now, onto pass rusher. You got the guy that you wanted already in Quincy Wiggins, sorry, the former LSU Tiger, just prototypical size, hasn't really showed too much on the field, but the type of game wrecker profile that this team needs, really that the university hasn't had in years and years. You could probably tell the last time we had a dominant pass rusher. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it would have been Jimmy Gilbert in 2016. Carson Wells was also really nice as a pass rusher in his time here, but I think Jimmy Gilbert was the last one to have a 10-sack season. I could be wrong there, but that's what's popping off to me. And obviously that was their best season in a long, long time in 2016. So yeah, I mean, I wish we could go back and remember the players that we were like on not opposite sides of, but like you're really high on Wiggins. I'm higher on Okunlola. And I think that's a good thing that we can be on opposite sides of that. But there you go. Like you've already hit on 2 players there. You'd like to add one more. I mean, if you can get the kid from Purdue, Scourton, I think it is Scourton. If you could get him, I mean, he led the Big Ten in sacks. Like you would do anything to be able to bring in a player like that. But it's not as pressing of a need as the interior. And Reggie made a great point in the comments that at altitude, you're going to be rotating those interior guys a lot. And same is true for the edge rushers, and they did this year. But the big guys in the middle need even more of a breather.
For sure. And, it's just the old football trope. Tom Brady talked about it all the time. Pressure up the middle is just the most disruptive thing that you can throw at a quarterback, basically. So if you can solidify the interior defensive line, those defensive tackle positions, and actually get some pass rush from those departments rather than just your edge rushers, that's really when the defense takes the next step and is able to just cause havoc consistently. And then you can finally play how you want this team to play, how Coach Prime wants them to play, from ahead, with Shedeur in control of the game, and then just icing the game down the road, hopefully up a ginormous amount, 30 to 40 points. Coach Prime always says he wants to dominate. That's the path to domination right there.
Absolutely. I can't get over the fact that this Scourton guy is 6'4", 280 playing on the edge in college. That's if he's on the board, then I would probably change my rankings if I know that he's a real possibility. I've asked, but I haven't been able to find out yet if that's in the cards. But yeah, I mean, one more beast in the middle would make you feel really good about defending the run next year. Fortifying that part of the line and then adding a DJ Lundy. And yeah, you do still have, I think, one more year of Bent at linebacker. You're still have a chance to develop Demoy Kennedy into something special at
Yep.
linebacker. All of the young guys that you mentioned, it's kind of crazy. You know, there's going to be a couple guys who people forgot about, who are transfers this last year that pop off. And I think, you know, Demoy Kennedy is a candidate to be one of them. The other one, as we're talking about edge guys, Savell Smalls, you know, like there's always a chance that it clicks for him and he becomes a big time contributor for this team. I think that's one that people have completely written off. But we'll see.
I mean, he dealt with injuries though. I can't remember. I think it was like midway through the year. He just wasn't dressed anymore for whatever reason, and I'm pretty sure it was just due to injuries. He was still with the team and everything, and I think he actually got back in uniform later in the season. So, yeah, bummer for him that he had to deal with that. But that's a great call there. And I don't know. I feel like it's kind of interesting when you look at the rankings we just did. It's a little bit the opposite of how Coach Prime says he wants to build his teams. He always says outside in. We just place the needs inside out, though.
Well, I think that actually makes sense, Jake, because the outside is taken care of already.
True, that's true.
So it's number one now because the other sides or other parts of the team have been taken care of to this point.
And then real quick, just to go back to your point about Scourton, there was a guy, I think it was last year or the year before, from Georgia Tech, who was a big edge like that, like a 290-pound edge. I can't remember his name. And then Brandon Davis Swain, he comes in at 6'3", 263 as a freshman, and he played he played all over the defensive line. He can kind of be a wild card for both groups there.
Yep, absolutely. Was it Cansey that you're talking about?
I think so. I think that's who it was. He went to the Bucks, I believe.
Yep, yeah. He was getting the Aaron Donald comps.
We can't be doing that though.
That is our final list. That is our final list right there. DT, edge, linebacker, corner.
All right, there it is. Shout out to our friends at Backus and Shanker. They're here to help Colorado families win. They've been doing so for 25 plus years. No fees to speak to them about your case. No fees while they work on your case, and no fees unless they win that case and win money for you. They have won over $1 billion for their clients. Go check them out. They got neighborhood offices all over the city, more than 30 lawyers and 100 people on staff to take care of your individual needs. And they help with all kinds of injury cases where you weren't at fault. Car accidents, motorcycle, rideshare, pedestrians, trucks. Even if it's at work, you know who to call. Smash the 222-2222 to find out if you have a case for free. Backus and Shanker wins.
Also, shout out to our friends at Illegal Pete's. Man, that sounds really good right now. Might be what I'm doing for dinner. Although I did, my dad gave me some gumbo, and that's what I had last night, and I have leftover, so I might be doing that again tonight. But if I wasn't doing that, I would probably be going to Illegal Pete's. If you buy $100 in Illegal Pete's gift cards right now, you can get $25 in free gift cards. I know Christmas season is over, but you got other things coming up. So check out our friends over at Illegal Pete's. Get in on some reverse nachos, which are amazing, or you could go steak queso burrito. Those are my two go-tos, but everyone loves something different at Illegal Pete's. What is it, Jake? Our favorite spot for burritos, buddies, and beers?
Your go-to spot.
Go-to spot.
Almost got it. All right. Last thing we have to talk about today. This came out on, when was this? Friday? So Saturday. It was the day after Jordan Seaton signed. Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, NFL legend, tweeted out a picture of him alongside Jordan Seaton. And then he tagged Coach Prime. He said, "Yo, at Deion Sanders, I'm out here recruiting now. You can hire me. I got at Jordan Seaton to commit and eat McDonald's. Hashtag Coach Ocho." Coach Ocho in Boulder, Ryan?
Hey, man. Just keep bringing me Hall of Fame players to the sidelines in Boulder. I mean, I would love this. Now, Coach Prime called him out on Nightcap last time and said, you're not built for it. You're not committed the way you need to be a coach at this level, which was some serious constructive criticism from Coach Prime. But I don't know. All he asked was to be the assistant wide receivers coach. So I say bring him in, grad assistant, uh, Ochocinco, or as I'm calling him, Coachocinco. Just put it all together. We don't need to do Coach Ocho. It already has that sound in it. Just Coachocinco.
I do love your little wordplay there. It does fit Ocho Cinco. I'm surprised he didn't think of that himself, actually.
I know.
He usually seems to be a master at those type of things. But yeah, you're right. I mean, look, get as many Hall of Famers as you can. I know Ed Reed's still out there too. He was almost damn near a head coach this time last year. Give him a call. See if he wants to join the staff, man. It only helps the recruiting efforts, and I don't know how serious of a role he actually played in the Jordan Seaton commitment. I doubt very much, honestly. But the fact that he's just out there meeting up with these guys and was already hanging out with them, I mean, keep them around. You're just going to get more high-profile players, the more Hall of Famers you have around this football team.
Yeah. He's gonna have to keep working hard to convince Coach Prime, though. Maybe Coach Prime's playing a little hard to get.
I mean, he kind of played a little hard to get with Warren Sapp. He made the guy get his degree, I guess.
He did, and he did it. So
I don't know if Chad Johnson has his degree though.
I sign me up for Ed Reed though. That would be amazing.
Are there any other former teammates of Coach Prime that you would, or maybe even just NFL friends of Coach Prime? We know the wide network he has that you would throw out there that you'd love to see in Boulder coaching up these kids.
Other NFL players?
Yeah.
All right. Since we've talked about the quarterback situation today, how about this one, Jake? Peyton Manning, quarterbacks coach. Arch Manning transfers to Colorado.
There you go. We already solved our first segment right there. That'd be a great one. I mean, I'd love to see someone like Emmitt Smith maybe come in too.
That would be sick.
Just a historical teammate of Coach Prime, someone like that. He talks a lot about Andre Rison, I know, as well. His former teammate in Atlanta, I believe. So the list is endless, really. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like two or three more guys that we just see come out of nowhere, hanging out with Shedeur or another player on the team, asking to be Coach Prime's one of his assistant coaches. Ray Lewis, the comments are saying. Tom Brady.
I actually thought Tom Brady was a possibility, just based on his relationship with Shedeur. Like, who knows how retirement and the single life is treating him? Like, I just thought there was maybe a chance there. He was just like, Coach Prime, I'm bored. Let's work.
Yep. It'd be amazing.
I'm shocked he didn't show up for a game this year.
I know. He's got to show up this year, right? I mean, he was here for practice, I believe, wasn't he?
Yep. Brian Dawkins is an interesting one. I don't know if he
That's
still does, but he was living in Colorado after his career. Obviously played for the Broncos for a little bit, and then his son was at Valor, and so he was coaching the secondary or the defense at Valor, which is just an insane thing for high school kids to be to have the opportunity to do. And then like they've got Brandon Stokely as their wide receivers coach, like wild.
Crazy.
But maybe he's still around. He wants to come help out.
Man, you want to bring some energy, even more energy to this program? Bring in Brian Dawkins. Can you imagine pregame with Coach Prime up on the podium and then Brian Dawkins just leading him out the tunnel? I mean, how do you not get fired up for that?
Yep.
Some other good ones. People said Michael Vick. Michael Vick's just an absolute legend. So hell yeah. Shannon Sharp. Shannon's quite busy, but man, that'd be another good one too.
I would love that. Shannon would be amazing too.
All right. Anything else?
That's all we got.
That is all we got. All right. Then shout out to our friends over at Red Hawk Roofing. If you're looking for a new roof for your home or business, hit up our friends at Red Hawk Roofing. Friends of DNVR and huge supporters of us, so we are huge supporters of them. They've done decades of work on roofs throughout Colorado. They've got a quick response time. They're Colorado's best estimators and contractors. You can get a free no obligation roof and property inspection and a free in-depth photo report on all inspections. So shout out to those guys. If you're looking for a new roof over your home or business, be sure to check out Red Hawk Roofing at redhawkroofing.com. Tell them DNVR sent you.
What else we got?
Just tell the people how much you love Snarfs.
Oh, okay. I don't know why that wasn't showing up for me. Shout out Snarfs. I mean, geez, I'm so hungry. I gotta stop coming to this show hungry, especially with all of our great partners. Snarfs, I think I told you just the other day, I just got like the turkey and Swiss for the first time. And my God, that hits. But they also have much more extravagant sandwiches, if you will. They've got a rotisserie chicken sandwich, which I think is pretty unique, and it's also delicious. And then what was the one you had? The prime rib?
Pastrami, man.
Pastrami, man. Oh, that sounds really good today.
Yeah,
So a lot of options over at Snarfs. Head on down there and get yourself a Snarf sandwich. In my opinion, best sandwiches in Colorado.
there you go. You kind of got the short end of the stick there, having to do both food reads before lunch too, man.
That is
Sorry.
true. Also, I don't know if we just said it weird, but the show's not over, so still
No,
got
no,
time.
no. We're gonna talk to the people now.
Well, multiple people were like, short show today. We're like, no, we still got time.
No, no, no. We're still here. We're hanging out for a little bit. Can you read questions for me again, please?
I got you. All right, first one's from 5280 Ivan, who says, is it realistic to think Coach Prime can land 2 to 3 5-star prospects in the 2025 cycle? I firmly believe that anytime Coach Prime wants to turn his focus to high school recruiting, he's going to be able to land that type of class. And then, the other thing that we've talked about is all of these, save for like the top 3 classes in the country, most of them are boosted by 3-star recruits. But yeah, I mean, if you get 2 5-stars, 5 4-stars, and 15 3-stars, that's a top 10 class right there.
So just looking at 247's rankings right now, let me pull up the composite actually. So according to the composite, there are quite a few 5-stars already. 24 of them. 247 has only ranked 6 themselves, but 24. So it looks like you're going to have a decent crop to pick from. A few of them are committed, but they've offered quite a few of these guys as well. So, I mean, never say never. And as you said, I mean, if he ever wants to focus on future high school classes and really go in on high school recruiting, I have no doubt that he can go clean up shop.
Exactly. Next one from Bart S. A super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Nic Scourton and Okunlola bookends in 24 LFG. I mean, it would be transformational to have those 2 guys as your edges next season. I mean, it's why you're gonna have to probably get into a bidding war to go get Scourton. Like, every team in the country looks at this dude and says, this dude's 280 pounds and he had 10 sacks last year. That's led the Big Ten. Like, every team's like, oh my God, if he's on our team, our defense just got exponentially better. So that's my my only worry is that it's going to end up being one of those schools that just has blank checks that they can hand out to whoever they want, a Texas A&M or Ole Miss. But yeah, I mean, if you can get him, every single team in the country wants him.
Absolutely, man. Getting bookends on the edges, I mean, that's just a recipe for success at any level of football. If you can rush the passer and just create havoc off the edge like that, it just changes your whole how everyone on defense plays and kind of sets the tone at that point as well. So it would be massive, man. They need it too.
Yep. All right, next one. From King Carlito. Did Lester sign? Yes, he did. Charles Lester did sign with Florida State. We don't know what he's going to do with that humidifier.
I don't know. Maybe use it on a visit when FSU joins the Big 12 and he comes to Folsom Field then.
There you go. From Big Teasy. What's up, Big Teasy? Super chat. Thank you for that. I'm more worried about practice habits more than past talent. Don't matter how many stars if you don't practice well to play games. What are your thoughts? I mean, if you want to, I don't know exactly what the question is, but what makes someone a true dog is that And that's why one of the top things that coaches are looking for when they seek out players is love of the game. Like, if you look at going to practice as a chore, you'll never reach your potential. But if you go to practice and you're excited for practice because you just love playing football, then your practice habits are going to be great. You're going, and you're going to you're going to reach your peak. I think it's always a challenge in college football, honestly, at all levels of football. That was one of the hardest things that I learned when I covered the NFL, was like, oh, not all of these guys love football, and not all of them really care all that much. And it's what Coach Prime's talking about when he says that he doesn't want to go to the NFL, because he knows that on every team everywhere, there's kids who just don't love the game. But he's saying he couldn't handle knowing that some guy's making tens of millions of dollars while not loving the game, not giving a shit whether they win or lose. So it's always a battle. But I think, you just count on your scouting staff to find guys who actually do love the game and care about it a lot.
Yeah, for sure. We learned it with Cormani this year. Every time Coach was asked about him early in the season before Cormani finally got his start, was it USC? Or basically before that game, really, though, he talked about his practice habits and how he just needs to get better. And that's really the big jump that he needed to acclimate to the college level, was to be a better practice player and just show that consistency. And that's just something that Coach Prime stands on. I mean, that's a core belief for him as a football coach and just as someone who loves the game, is you got to have kind of that love of the game also. And you got to actually, pay your dues. You got to go in, clock in for work. Like, it's a kind of a gift to be able to do something like that, play football for a job or for a potential career path. So absolutely.
Amen. Next one's from Jay. He says, RK, how does it feel to be the narrator of the Coach Prime series? And how good is your NIL? I hope it's good, because you seem to cover at least half of each episode. It's pretty cool. I will say it's really cool. It was an awesome opportunity, and I've never been a part of anything that so many people see, and I just know that because of all the texts and DMs and people saying something to me when I'm at the games or whatever. It's pretty cool. Like, literally, I got a text from someone and I saw like our text conversation last night. The last time they had texted me was in 2015. And it was like, hey, like, I saw you on the Coach Prime documentary. That's so cool. So yeah, it's been really, really cool.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, you deserve it. No better choice to kind of rally and lead Buff Nation than you, really.
Hey, and you too.
Thanks, man. I'm trying. I'm trying to be like you.
All right, another super chat from Big Teasy. And whatever Juju did or didn't do, can't have that. Players with talent that can't stay on the field or help the team. He was handpicked too. Yeah, I mean, again, this is just when you have a team of 85 scholarship players and over 100 total players. These are just the types of things that you have to deal with, and so it's one of those things that you'd like in your opening press conference as a coach. You say something like, "We're not going to have guys doing this, that, or the other thing," and like, it's just not true. Every team deals with these things. And I don't even know what exactly we're talking about with Juju, but it's just the truth that you're always going to have those types of scenarios come up on a football team with that many young men.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really know what happened with Juju, so I can't really say if that was his issue or not. But
and that's what I'm not even speaking on the specific issue. It's just you're always going to have things that players are doing that put them in the doghouse with the coaches. Like, it's just guaranteed to happen. Right.
For sure. Appreciate you, my guy, Big Teasy.
PPMGTV says, is Shane Koch still here?
I don't think we've gotten a decision either way from him yet, have we?
I don't think so either. And this is why, because a bunch of people commented yesterday being like, how do you guys not know how many scholarship players there are? And it's because there's just so many situations like this. As it stands, they're right around 80, but it can swing one way or the other based on, what guys are coming back and what guys are being counted on and all this stuff. Like, we expect Savion Wilkerson to be back, but he also ran out at senior day. So we're like, well, why did that happen? And so there's all these kind of question marks as to who's coming back, who still has eligibility. We know that Shane Cokes does have eligibility, but when we talked to him before the Utah game, he said he was still mulling his options over. So we'll have to find out what exactly happens. But that's why we don't know the exact scholarship count right now, because we don't know exactly who's back.
Yeah, I've got people messaging me all the time, kind of asking for the scholarship count, and it's that answer exactly. But also, we have so much time before that really actually factors in. I mean, not only do we have this portal period, we have to go through spring football. They're probably going to have an overloaded roster then, over 85. They're going to make cuts, or guys are going to leave sometime after that spring game because the portal is going to open again. And then who knows? I mean, with grad transfers and guys who maybe make decisions, I'm going to go actually try out or look for another program in the summer. The scholarships won't really matter until we kick off against North Dakota State, I think on August 31st. So there's plenty of time before we have to really worry about the 85 limit here.
Yep. Next one from our friend Will Darkey. He says,
Let's go.
Somewhat off-topic question for you boys. If the Buffs' future is not breaking a sweat on the escalator, what mode of transportation is the Broncos' future?
Oh, no.
So the Buffs are on an escalator. I would say the Broncos are on a moving sidewalk.
The Broncos are on an elevator in free fall. We don't know which direction we're headed in. It's floating somewhere.
Yeah, I was just going to say they're on the moving sidewalk because it's like we're moving, but we're not going up or down. We're just kind of moving. We've just been here. We've been flatlined for a while here in Denver. I put it out today. Since Peyton left, the Broncos have searched for a new quarterback or a new coach every single year except one. And even that one is kind of misleading because they did have a new week one starting quarterback. It was 2020 where they decided to go with Drew Lock. Vic Fangio is still the coach. You just can't succeed under those kinds of that much change.
We're on a treadmill then. We're just moving in place.
There you go. That's a better one. Yep. That illustrates exactly what I was thinking.
Oh, man. Pray for the Broncos.
Big TZ again, making it rain today. Getting baseball will help football recruiting, especially quarterbacks. What is the status? Can you research that next time in Boulder? You want to?
Are you asking me?
I don't. You looked like you were about to talk.
Look, man. I think these things are a lot more. I guess there's a whole process has to go through that. Coach Prime said he'd love to do it, and I'm sure the next time we'd hear progress, everyone's going to hear it. But this is something that's going to take a while, I think. I mean, don't they have to build a whole baseball field and stuff too?
Oh yeah, I mean it would be two sports because they're even right now on Title IX. So you would obviously bring in, or I guess presumably bring in baseball and softball, build a whole facility for it. I'm all for it. I've talked about it before. The idea of going up to Boulder on like a summer day and like sitting out in the bleachers and having a beer and watching a baseball game under the Flatirons sounds like maybe one of the greatest things you could ever do. I just think we're talking about like a 6-year goal, not all right, we sold out every football game for 1 year. Now we can have a baseball team.
Right. To go back to the Broncos real quick, though, Ryan, with this Russell Wilson news, we're one step closer to Shedeur potentially becoming a Bronco.
It's going to be hard if they draft Penix in the first round.
I'd be down for that too, but look, we have a 4-month window here of dreaming now, so
that's
we'll
true. I guess if you want Shedeur in Denver, which of course I do as well, you're pulling for Stidham to look like a stud over the next 2 games.
There you go.
And Sean Payton saying, I can win with this guy next year.
Let's go, man. Sometimes you have to bottom it out to build it back up.
Yep. For what it's worth, though, Shedeur would be such an incredible fit for Sean Payton's system.
It'd be night and day from what we saw this year. You'd see a
Yep.
guy quick processing, making plays right out of the pocket. It'd be a joy to watch.
Yep. All right. From Dominique, do we know who the tight ends coach will be? Kind of. But I don't want to say anything until we know it for sure. This is a weird thing about the Coach Prime Buffs is like, I don't think Coach Prime goes to the PR staff and says like, hey, you can put out a press release about the tight ends coach. It's X, Y, or Z. So then like, I just don't, I assume they have to go to him and be like, hey, can we say who the, like, nothing comes out in a normal way.
Right.
If like Coach Prime doesn't feel like putting it out himself, or it doesn't come out via like a well-off video, then sometimes things just don't come out.
Yeah, I don't think they're worried about it. I think they definitely have at least a potential candidate lined up, if not someone already in place and working or going to be working under that title. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to say too much here.
I mean, we're dealing with the exact same thing at offensive coordinator, but
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Coach Prime has been directly asked about that one, so we have like a quote about it, right? Which is him saying like probably probably he's the offensive coordinator. Brendan Marion's done now. He played his last game, or they played their last game last night, so maybe he's an option again. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I assume on a slow news day one of these days we'll just get a press release that says like Colorado makes 4 changes to coaching staff.
Hopefully, it'd be appreciated.
Yeah, it would. Travis asks, would it be disappointing to win 7 games next year? I don't think so.
I think Coach Prime would be disappointed. I don't. It's tough to, especially at this point, still as they're still building out the roster. We don't even have the schedule dates out yet. But 7 would equate a bowl game. It's something that CU hasn't done since 2020. It'd be the first bowl game of the Coach Prime era here. It's hard for me to say I'd be disappointed with that right now in the moment.
Yeah, it's always impossible to answer these questions right now because you never know how the season's going to work. If you told me before the season that Colorado's going to win 4 games and they're going to beat their rivals, and I would say, oh, that's awesome. If you told me they're going to start 4-1 and then lose out, well, then I'm saying, okay, well, that's a little bit more disappointing than it sounds on the surface. So it's always kind of how it shook out. I will say this. This is I always talk about savoring and treasuring the time that Shedeur and Travis are on the field. Those guys are premier college football players. And I think anything is possible with them on your team. So I know for a fact people will be disappointed if the best you were able to do with those 2 players is 7 wins. But you mentioned all the other stuff, Jake. Like 7 wins is one of the best seasons in a long time at Colorado. So you have to have the wide perspective and you have to understand the more narrow perspective about succeeding with those 2 players.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say right now. But 7 wins, I mean, that's a clear step as well. That's a step up from last year. And obviously, you would have to, I guess, rebuild again, I guess, because Shedeur and Travis and those guys would be headed out. But it'd be a nice step in the grand scheme of things, especially if Coach Prime's here, like we hope he is, for the long-term future, 5+ years, maybe 10 years. I mean, that'd just be another step up, and hopefully we just keep climbing those steps.
Yeah, exactly. I would understand either side of that answer. But
For sure.
I think from the longtime Colorado fan view, complaining about 7 wins would be a little bit short-sighted.
Yep. Anything else?
From Robert, does Colorado have a new tight ends coach? How many more do they take in the portal? Again, it all depends on room. But they only utilized 1 tight end last year. Now, it would be nice to be able to utilize more than that, but it's you saw Coach Prime say what he wants in the portal, and that might be all they have room for.
Yeah, I mean, Shimon Mateer is a guy who I think we're expecting a lot of. Another kind of younger player, was a 2021 recruit. Played in only 6 games before getting hurt in 22. So I think that he's still got a lot to give and can kind of hold down the fort really at that position. But we did kind of see depth issues again at that position last year. No one else was really able to emerge alongside Michael Harrison. So we'll see. I mean, Coach Prime did mention, those needs that we talked about today. He hasn't, I don't think he's mentioned tight end. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring another one in, though. They've offered some guys, too, a few JUCO kids and lower level guys. So
I will say it'd be nice to just have a big body tight end. Even I was just watching last night, like UNLV had a couple different guys where I'm like, man, that's just a big body out there. Like it would be, that's something that they just don't have. Like they don't have to be dynamic. Like just be, a little bit of a mix between an offensive lineman and a pass catcher.
Right, exactly. Need it.
Last one here from Teasy. This one is for the FDP. We appreciate you. Don't know what that means.
I think you mean the Funky Dope producer.
Oh,
thank you.
That is Alyssa. All right.
Alyssa getting her shine on. You love to see it.
Shout out to Alyssa. Maybe Alyssa's going to be in the Coach Prime documentary next year.
There you go. We'll get the good word in and get you an interview, Alyssa.
Technically, she almost was in this year's. They just remember they shot footage of us doing the show at TCU. They just didn't use it.
Yeah, the back of my head made it at TCU.
Yeah.
She had to sign the waiver.
She got in, and I thought was in the documentary from being in one of the post-game press conferences. Were you not? I can't remember.
I don't know. I mean, I did sign the waiver, so I guess they could put me in at any time.
And someone said Shimon Mateer is a big body. Of course, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying an additional one, so you can get some two tight end sets out there, and push some people around hopefully a little bit.
For sure. People are saying Sap made it official on Instagram.
Okay. Also, King Mar said give Alyssa a mic. Alyssa has a mic. It's on her to use it.
Yeah, it's on.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
I think that's all we got.
Dope. I will be back in Denver tomorrow. I am ecstatic to be back in Colorado.
Oh, yeah,
I cannot wait.
My whole week is thrown off. I keep forgetting that tomorrow's Thursday because the week started on Tuesday. All right. Well, get home safely. Late show tomorrow, right?
Yeah, so we're gonna go later. 3, right, Alyssa?
3, yes, 3 tomorrow.
Cool. All right, we'll see you guys then. Hopefully we have something to talk about at some point. The off season's kind of getting here. We still got transfer portal stuff. And again, Bryce Underwood on the 6th of January, so stay tuned. Let's go Buffs, baby.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the